Hello, reader. Thank you for joining us. This is the Christian Readers Community Podcast. On this podcast, we will be discussing with fellow readers and authors. You will never lack for good conversations and recommendations of Christian books. If you're a lover of literary works, fiction and non-fiction, then you have made the right stop here. Thank you for joining us again, and I hope you listen to every podcast that we get to put out for you. Thank you.
Creston Mapes grew up in Northeast Ohio, where he has fond memories of living with his family of 5 in the upstairs portion of his dad's early American furniture store. He wasn't a good student, but the one natural talent he possessed was writing. He cranked out his own neighborhood newspaper, graduated with a degree in journalism, and worked as a newspaper reporter, photographer, and creative copywriter. As creative director, he learned he was not cut out for management, so went out on his own as a freelance writer. He's ghostwritten nonfiction books, penned contemporary thrillers, achieved Amazon bestseller status, and had one of his novels optioned as a major motion picture. Creston married his 4th grade sweetheart, and they have 4 amazing adult children.
Hello and welcome back to the Christian Readers Community. I'm Faith, and Creston has the latest in town, Celebrity Pastor. Welcome to the show, Creston Mapes.
Thank you very much. So nice to be here.
Thank you. You wrote this beautiful book, and I started reading it as soon as I got it, and I could not stop until I finished reading the book. And what a compelling title, Celebrity Pastor. So tell us, what inspired the book?
Well, about a year and a half ago, I took an interest in some documentaries on some churches, mega churches that had gotten into some trouble with leadership. And the more I watched these documentaries, the more interested I became, and I started to research it and started really taking some notes about what was happening and how these downfalls could occur, and just decided to write a fictional tale about such a thing. And boy, it was interesting because I'm not a plotter, so I write seat of the pants, meaning I just go day to day and I don't really know what's going to happen. So as I got into the book, I thought, man, this is getting dark. I like to write books that are, have some inspirational aspects, but it's a dark topic, and I just decided to keep pursuing it, and I'm happy with the way the book came out.
So tell us about the book, Celebrity Pastor.
Well, it's a book about a pastor and his wife and 2 kids who started out with good intentions, and their church just took off in growth, like a lot of mega churches we see today. And the pastor takes liberties, I guess you'd say, with his popularity, and his wife becomes caught up in material things and also in the popularity, and it's also about the people that surround them, their inner circle, the leaders who support this pastor at all costs, and especially it's about a woman that he pursued and her husband and their family and what it does to them. And it's also about a young lady that he knows on the side and what it does to her life and her faith, I guess you would say. So yeah. a lot going on in the book.
Yes, I read this book, and I thought, like I said earlier, when I started, I just couldn't stop until I finished the book. So I was just so surprised when I got to the end. I was like, is it over? Is it over already? Yeah, it was just that. It was just wow. It's a powerful book, and I'm not saying this to hype Creston, but if you've been a fan of his works over the years, then you would know that Creston Mapes is not just any kind of writer. He is the kind of writer that you're always expecting something from him, because you know that, oh, this one is going to be something big for me, and something that will give me some takeaway. And as Christians, this book is I highly recommend this book to every Christian listening to this, even non-Christian. It's a beautiful and a very, very powerful book. Let's talk about the interaction, the discussion question at the back. So
Yes.
what do you aim to achieve with those questions? Because they were really, I saw some very, very thoughtful questions there.
Well, thank you so much. Back when I was published by traditional publishers, they required us to do discussion questions at the back. And then in the years since then, I've just kind of gotten away from doing it. But as I said earlier, as I got into writing the story, I felt it was kind of not as uplifting as I would like. So that's when I decided to start writing the discussion questions, and I wrote them as I wrote the book. So if I would finish a chapter, and I felt it was a good place, a good point for a discussion question, I'd go ahead and write the question and put it at the end. And because one of the main things I think, Faith, that I think can be positive about the book and that it can help people is that I think a lot of Christians get involved in churches, really of any size, and they can get involved maybe for the wrong reasons, or maybe they can be taken advantage of. And so I kind of wanted to set aside the fiction for a moment and have some truth in these discussion questions when friends can get together and talk about their experiences, maybe their negative experiences with the church, and be able to voice these things and be a help to each other. So that's kind of what those are all about, and they're pretty in depth, and I've had so far good feedback about those. People like that they're in there, and it's good for book clubs and so forth.
And this is actually a beautiful book because people can actually relate to most of the points you laid out in your story. While it was intriguing, you put out some very, very important points. So what are you how would you advise pastors, especially those who are just starting?
Well, I had a good friend who was a pastor who I talked to about this book, and I took notes when I was talking to him, and a lot of what he said comes up in the book in one way or another in the story. And what he told me is, that these people in high leadership positions need to have accountability, not just from maybe elders or those leaders around them, but also personal accountability with a good friend or two who they can really share with, and know that whatever they say in that meeting is going to be kept confidential, and they just need a sounding board. Because I think what happens in the story and what happens in real life is, I think that these people have no one to talk to. And what's happening to them is so amazing with the growth of their churches and their popularity and the money coming in and the growth that, they can get a little bit away from reality. And so they need a sounding board, and they need to have also, a circle around them in the church that's going to not be afraid to hold them accountable as well.
I've heard this phrase, it's lonely at the top. So how would you relate that to what's happening to this pastor?
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, he realizes he's stepped way out of bounds, but he thinks he's untouchable. He really believes that. He believes that he's got this insular culture that nothing can touch him. And although he knows in his mind that he's gone out of bounds, it's just too appealing to him to stop. And you can see in points in the book where he's disgusted with himself, but he doesn't pursue those. You want him to, but he just ignores it. For the most part, I don't want to give any spoilers, but
sure.
Yeah.
This means that we all have the Holy Spirit in us, and he tries to draw our attention to certain things. Sometimes some people call it conscience. And I saw some of those places in the book. So let's move a little and talk about you as an author. I told you before we started recording that I've been reading your works for a few years now, and I discovered that before you started writing, you used to be a journalist. So what suddenly inspired you to start writing? Or start writing fiction?
Well, when I was a student in high school and in college, I was not a great student. Terrible at math. Just really struggled with school. Didn't want to go to college, but my parents made me. And but that's when I found journalism. And I had a great advisor along the way in college who even had us submit magazine articles as class projects. We started getting, rejection. Some of the students got published, and I really found that I was good at writing, at creative writing. And she acknowledged that, and she encouraged me that I could make a living as a writer. But she did say, you're probably going to have to start as a newspaper reporter or something. My dream was to write for a magazine, something like Sports Illustrated or Rolling Stone. And she said, you're going to have to start low. And I sure did. I started at a small biweekly newspaper in Florida where my editor and I did everything. We took the photos, we wrote the stories, we laid out the paper, we did the darkroom work, all that stuff. So and that was a great experience. I did love it though. And then I went to a bigger paper in Ohio where I was a city hall reporter. And you're right, those days as a reporter kind of have inspired a number of my books. And I love that profession. And then I transitioned from newspapers to creative, more ad agency marketing type copywriting, and went out on my own as a freelancer and did that for about 30 years. And along the way is when I started writing books back in 2005. I think my first book came out.
2005. That means you've been writing for 19 years now.
Yes, and along the way, because I had my own freelance writing business, I think I got my first contract in 2005, and that was for 3 books. And then I had to take a break in between after the 3 books because I needed to keep my business going. And then I got another 3-book contract. I think it was 2013 and 14. So I wrote those 3 books, and then I had to get back to my freelance business because, we weren't selling enough books to make a living at. So, but then I really dove into indie publishing full time back in 2019, and have really been, now Celebrity Pastor is my 14th book, and that's all I'm doing now is writing books.
So, what aspect of this book, Celebrity Pastor, did you struggle with? The writing, the editing, publishing, or the marketing?
Well, it's interesting because I knew it was a good book as I was writing. I knew, and I love to read the kind of books that this is, the kind that, as you mentioned, there's a lot of tension. You've got to find out what happens next. You've just got to keep reading. That's the way I try to write all my books. And about 3/4 of the way through this book, I thought, this guy is just on such a dark road. Are my readers going to like this, Well, at that point, I met with a good friend of mine and told him what was happening in the book and bouncing some ideas off him. And he said, well, is this going to be a redemption story? Is this guy going to come back to his senses or what? And I did struggle with that. I'm not going to tell what happens, but I think that's why the discussion questions became so important to me, because I wanted to make sure the book was uplifting in some way and helpful in some way. But I also wanted to be true to the story of what was happening with this guy and those around him. So I hope that answered your question.
Yeah. I've actually seen, real life cases of this kind of situation, and yes, it's most times it goes the way you actually, plotted it in your story. So, like you said, we won't say anything about it. And if anyone wants to know how the pastor ended, how the celebrity pastor in this case ended, please go and check out this book. It's just so beautiful. Okay, so. What else are your readers expecting from you? What else should we expect from you?
In the future, you mean?
Yes.
Well, I have several series. The Signs of Life series is the latest. It has 6 books. And I know it needs a 7th book at least. So I'll probably be doing that someday soon. But I do love writing standalone thrillers like Celebrity Pastor, like a recent book, I Am In Here. Those are really fun to write for me. Another thing, I think I might do another standalone thriller next. I'm not positive, but we love to vacation in a place called Amelia Island, Florida. And for years we've been going there, and I've been taking notes and pictures. And so I want to base a book there. And recently when we were there, I had a kind of a hospital emergency, and I was in the hospital for 2 days there and got some good ideas while I was in there. So I don't know. Right now, between books, I think I do this every time. I take a couple weeks to just take off from writing and just think. And I think that my mind is cooking up things and I don't even know it, but one of these days, pretty soon here, I need to sit down at the computer and start writing it.
All right. So I subscribed to your newsletter a few months ago and I got a free book. So let's say, someone who is yet to hear about you or read any of your books, or maybe have heard about you but is yet to read any of your books and would like to try it out, where would they go and subscribe to your newsletter?
Yeah, just go to www.crestonmapes.com. So that's CRESTONMAPES.com. And a window will pop up where if they sign up for my newsletter, they'll get my first book, Dark Star, free, the Kindle book. And that's still one of my favorite books. It's about a rock star who is very unhappy and unsatisfied, and he starts getting letters from a teenage girl in Kansas who's kind of praying for him, and he's a lost soul. And so it is a thriller, and I would love for your listeners to grab a copy of it free. Just go to www.crestonmapes.com.
Okay, so on social media, where can we find you if we want to follow you?
I'm on Facebook, and I'm on Twitter, and I have a little following on Instagram. I haven't quite figured that out yet, but yeah, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And again, the best way to keep up with me is to sign up for that newsletter, and I try to get one out once every 2 weeks.
Okay, so would you mind reading an excerpt from your book?
I'm sorry?
So would you mind reading an excerpt from your book?
Oh, God. That hit me as unexpected, but yeah, I can. Okay, here we go. I don't want to be here. I'm just going to say it. She was nervous and she was shivering because it was frigid in there. Pardon me, Mrs. McHugh, I'm sorry. Before we get started, do you mind if I record our session on audio? It's just so I won't have to be preoccupied taking notes. My receptionist should have explained. She did. I don't care. Go ahead. Dr. Samuel Yeager set the tiny recorder on the mahogany table between them. He pressed a button and it beeped. You were saying you don't want to be here. I don't. I mean, no offense to you by that, she said. Many people don't want to come to therapy at first, but many of those same people find it becomes a great source of help and hope for them. Perhaps you'll become one of those people. Look, doctor, I don't mean to be rude. Please don't take this personally, but I have a difficult time believing this is going to help me. Why is that? She chuckled, more from numbness and sheer nothingness than from anything amusing. I don't know. It's just not the type of thing I ever imagined myself doing. Plus, I know what I'm feeling. I know what a ruin I made of things. It's a fact that I'm the one in our marriage who messed up. Darren did nothing wrong. And although I was pursued by this man, that doesn't matter here. None of the carnage is going to go away anytime soon. I just don't feel there's much hope. It's just the way it is, and I don't know how an outsider like you can change anything. So that's the start of chapter 2, where we get to know Nicole and what's going on.
Yeah, what an interesting chapter. At first, I wondered why she was, behaving the way she was behaving until when she started talking and when she started, speaking her reasons. And I was like, oh, it's a beautiful story. Thank you so much, Creston. This has been a wonderful conversation. And like I said, this is the latest in town, or one of the latest in town. And if you haven't gotten Celebrity Pastor yet for yourself, go on ahead, get it on Amazon. Is it available on any other platform?
The ebook is Amazon, but the paperback can be found anywhere, and the audiobook. Okay. And I wanted to thank you too, Faith, for having me. You're so kind, and I appreciate your enthusiasm about the book.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I hope that when I invite you to come talk about your next book, you'll be willing to come again.
I certainly will, for sure. You just let me know.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. So everyone, thank you for listening. And until I come your way again next time, I'm saying stay safe, stay blessed, and bye-bye, everyone.